Hi there and welcome to this Solution Focused Thinking Club tutorial. I'm John Bullock, owner and founding director of Solution Focused, and joining me today is...
My name's Nick Bishop, a fellow director in the business. Hi John.
Hello. And today's tutorial is about defining SMART goals. Now, SMART goals have been around, well, for many, many years, haven't they, Nick? As long as I can remember anyway, probably before my time. The ironic thing about a SMART goal, though, unfortunately, in our experience in working in business for many years, is that most business people actually have heard of SMART goals, but very few can actually write and action an effective SMART goal. So what we're going to do for you in this tutorial is we're going to break down the letters of SMART, and then we're going to give you 3 key learning points to make sure you can go away and write down, and then more importantly, action a specific SMART goal.
Sounds a plan.
Okay, so let's start with the S in SMART. The S stands for specific, and that means that you make your goal specific as important. Now, Nick, why don't you tell us about why is it important for the brain to have something that is specific? Why is that important?
Because we have to have something tangible that we can actually focus on all the time. So it's specific, it's important to us, it has meaning,
yes,
and allows the brain to have complete focus on what the end result's going to look like.
Absolutely. And if the brain has focus on it, it starts to pick up things around helping you achieve that goal, doesn't it? Which is really quite key. The one thing that we should probably mention here as well about SMART is that it's generally used for quantitative measures, isn't it? Something that's, as you've said, very tangible. It's not a qualitative goal defining technique. There is qualitative goal defining techniques, and you will find those in later tutorials. But this particular goal defining technique, SMART, is to cover quantitative. So complete a report on time.
Yes.
Run a marathon in this much time. So back to the letter S, making your goal very, very specific, and even down to the painful details, as in specific date, specifically units of measure, and so on and so on and so on. So you make it as specific as possible. Somebody once said to me, if you achieve a SMART goal, on the date that you achieve it, somebody's going to turn up in a uniform and a clipboard, and they're going to want to audit your goal. And if they can't audit your goal, it wasn't specific enough. And I think that was a great piece of advice, really, when it came to S. So the S in SMART stands for specific. Okay, then we move on to the M. What does the M stand for then in SMART, Nick?
Measurable.
Measurable.
I mean, for example, let's think about this. So I'm going to run a marathon. Well, I'm going to run it in 2 hours. I'll be world record holder if I was. 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever it may be. It has to be measurable. We have to know exactly, have we got the result? Have we achieved that?
Yeah. So the measure is really important, because if you can't measure a goal, there's an argument to say, why are you doing it to a certain degree? Certainly in a business context as well. So the measurement is quite key. But not only the fact that do you measure it because you need to measure it to understand whether you're successful or not, but if you measure it and you're not as successful as you need to be, that's the time that you can stop, learn, apply, and move forward. So you can constantly be measuring. Now, a lot of people don't like to be measured. This is an issue. And the reason people don't like to be measured is because it holds us to account.
Indeed.
Okay? And it means we have to take personal responsibility for the goal that we're actually trying to achieve. But actually, it can be really empowering if you let measurement in, because what you're able to do is measure, learn, and if you're not quite getting the results you want, adapt your approach and apply it and get some better results.
But surely, John, if you're setting a SMART goal, you want to do it because you want to achieve something.
Correct.
So you'd want that measure in there so you can say, I've done it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we shouldn't be fearful of measurement.
No.
We shouldn't be fearful.
It's part of the celebrating success. When you've got there, you're so proud of your achievement, John.
Absolutely. So we've got specific and we've got measurable. So that moves us to the A. Now the A in SMART is achievable. And this achievability is about confidence, okay? Now, if you've got a SMART goal and it's your SMART goal, you're the only one that's going to be doing the SMART goal or taking action on it, then it will be your level of achievability. So on a very, very simple scale, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that you can achieve this goal? If you have this scale and 10 is absolute confidence and 1 is absolute doubt, you need to be over halfway to get you moving on that goal. It doesn't mean you can't achieve it if you're not very confident, but it does mean you'll need to work on your confidence. Now, we have a separate tutorial about how to increase confidence. So if you need to do that, take a look at that because there's loads of great stuff in it for you. But when it comes to SMART, on the achievability scale, you need a 5.1 to make sure you've got a bit more confidence than doubt that you can move forward with it. And bearing in mind the goal's going to be very specific and measurable, that should help the confidence piece as well, shouldn't it?
I mean, the interesting thing was that, I'm not sure we're on to the A or perhaps going forward to the T here a little bit, but I was once with the football referee from the Premiership, and a newly appointed referee to the Football League came into the room. And in conversation, we just talked about what his ambitions and goals were. And given that this is his first season in the Football League, his goal, perhaps ambition, was to referee a World Cup final. Well, we could be 20 years hence. It's so far away.
Yeah. So that goal was more of a vision than a SMART goal.
Yes.
And that's a really good point that you bring up here, because we wouldn't use a SMART goal defining technique for a vision.
No.
If it's a vision, if it's something very big and it needs to be inspirational, great, perfect. But you're right, he would probably fall down on the achievability scale at that point as he got nearer it with the little goals. And this is what SMART is really good for. If you've got a great big goal that you've chunked down, you've got a great big vision, once you've chunked it down, these become your SMART goals.
Well, indeed, because it's tick, I'm Football League, I'm Championship, I'm Premier League, I'm UEFA. I'm sorry to talk sport and football, but it's a great example.
Without a doubt. So, make it specific, make it measurable, make sure you've got a level of achievability that is in your favour, and then we move on to the R. Now the R in SMART is often, there's lots of different words that have come out over the years for SMART, but the original research was the R stands for relevant. Now most people think it stands for realistic. The issue that I've got with that, and I like relevant, so we're going to go with relevant. The issue I've got with that is if you have a goal that is realistic, it will be achievable. Because realism and achievability is about belief. So they're two the same things. The A covers off realism in my opinion, the achievability. So we're going to look at relevant. Now relevant is really important because if you're going to achieve a goal, you must have a certain level of motivation. There's got to be a relevancy high enough for you to actually go and get some energy and go and take that goal forward, isn't there?
This is interesting where you then talk about, is something a SMART objective a personal goal or is it imposed by the business? Because then the relevance kicks in again, John.
Without a doubt. Now if this is a personal goal for yours, on your 1 to 10 scale, if you're above a 5, you're more bothered than you're not, so you're able to go off and do the goal. Once we start to share team goals and SMART goals, which we'll come on to in a moment, it starts to get a little bit more challenging. But let's stick with the individual for now. So the R is relevant. What is the reason that you have in order? What's the motivation for you to get up and give yourself enough energy to go and achieve it? Let's face it. How much energy do you have, Nick, when you are about to achieve or go and work on a goal you're really excited about?
100%.
Versus one you don't really want to do.
Not sure about this.
And the energy level will fluctuate depending on that relevancy scale. So if you're going to have a SMART goal and you want to make it that the SMART goal is going to be actionable and achievable, there's got to be a level of relevance in there for you as well. Which finally brings us to the T in SMART. And the T is very simply time bound. There's got to be an end date. Your brain likes to work to specific calendar dates. So if you're setting yourself a SMART goal, by X date, I will, and then whatever the measurable difference is that you're trying to set at the end. We will give you a couple of examples that you can print out next to this video of SMART goals that you're able to take away, which will help you then go and write yours as well.
The best example I can give you of time bound, John, think about it, as you know, I'm very involved in athletics with UK Athletics, etc. I see people in races, it could be 100 metres, 800 metres, probably the longer it's more relevant. They finish a race and as soon as they go through the line they collapse.
Yes.
If the line was 100 yards further on, they'd still run 100 yards further before they collapse.
Correct, yeah. Somebody once said to me that about the London Marathon. I've got a goal to run, a SMART goal to run it in this much time and it's this distance. And I actually questioned it because the distance is 26.2 miles, which is what the marathon is. However, that's the length of the line that they run. There's that many people there that people actually run closer to 27. They'll run closer to 27 miles, but it was quite interesting that this gentleman went, well, I can only run 26.2. So actually, sometimes it's about making sure it's specific so your brain knows what to try and achieve. So far we've got SMART and we've broke it down into specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. If this SMART goal is yours alone, you can go away, you can write a SMART goal, it's your level of achievability, which is belief, and it's your level of motivation. To come back to your point, Nick, Once you start to share SMART goals, this is where it gets a bit more tricky. Because if a SMART goal is decided at leadership level, there will be a level of achievability and relevance in there because they've set the goal, but then the goal is cascaded down the organisation. The problem is, the SMART goal isn't cascaded. It's only the SMUT part of SMART, pardon the pun. It's only the S, the M and the T, the specific, measurable and time bound, that is cascaded. So by X date, we will make X amount of turnover. Sometimes there is no discussion about how much people think it's achievable, more to the point, how people are motivated within the business. So as a little tip, if you're going to use SMART as part of a team or you're going to cascade it, you need to make sure that you get buy-in from everybody that's going to be involved in the goal.
It's the consultative approach.
It's absolutely, you get buy-in from that, you help them with their confidence if they're struggling with the belief, and you also help to motivate them along to achieve the goal. So to sum this tutorial up for you, if you're going to set a SMART goal, use the letters that we've discussed. But learning point number one, especially if you're going to share the goal, is first of all, make sure you've got a SMUT goal. It's specific, it's measurable and time bound. That's the first learning point. Learning point number two is then make sure that you are confident enough to achieve it, and if your confidence is low, go and do something to increase your confidence. And learning point number three is make sure there's a relevance in place, make sure you have enough motivation in order to do it. If you can bring all of that together, we have no doubt you can go away, not only write, but also action a successful SMART goal. Thank you for your time today. That brings us to the end of this tutorial. Please look at the others in this series. Thank you for your time, Nick.
Always a pleasure, John.
Thanks. Bye for now.
Bye.